Every generation produces fighters who dominate their era, champions who collect belts, break records, and fade into history. But only once has boxing produced a man who didn't just dominate opponents, but reshape the very idea of what a heavyweight fighter could be. Watch a Muhammad Ali fight from the 1960s, then watch a modern heavyweight championship bout. The contrast is immediate and uncomfortable. Something essential is missing. Something fundamental to the soul of the sport is gone. Modern boxing is a world of billion-dollar promotions, carefully engineered training camps, nutrition plans measured to the gram, and recovery machines that cost more than houses. Fighters today are stronger, heavier, and better protected than ever before. Their careers are managed like financial portfolios. Risk is minimized, damage is controlled, longevity is prioritized, and yet when you compare this world to the one Muhammad Ali ruled, it feels like something vital died along the way. Ali did not fight like other heavyweights. He didn't march forward behind a high guard. He didn't plant his feet and trade power shots. He floated. He circled. He pulled opponents into mistakes they didn't even realize they were making. He created angles where none should exist and made men miss by millimeters while talking to them, taunting them, breaking their confidence in real time. His footwork wasn't decoration, it was dominance. His hands weren't always raised because he trusted distance, timing, and reflexes more than static defense. Ali wasn't improvising. He was executing a system that no heavyweight before him had ever sustained. He treated the ring like a living environment, constantly changing, constantly responding. Every step served a purpose. Every risk was calculated. He didn't just want to win. He wanted to humiliate the idea that heavyweights had to be slow, stiff, and predictable. That style didn't come from talent alone. It came from obsession. At his physical peak, Muhammad Ali stood roughly 6 feet 3 inches tall and weighed just over 210 pounds. By today's standards, that's small for a heavyweight. But his attributes were extraordinary. He possessed the foot speed of fighters several weight classes below him, hand speed rarely seen even among lighter divisions, and a chin that absorbed punishment from men like Sonny Liston, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, and Ernie Shavers. This combination was not accidental. It was built through a training process so demanding that modern sports scientists would consider it reckless. Ali's conditioning began long before sunrise. Nearly every morning around 5:30, while his opponents slept, he was already running, 6 miles at a time, often in heavy boots, not because it was comfortable, but because it made every movement harder. And he didn't simply run forward. He shuffled sideways, he ran backward, he shadowboxed while moving, throwing punches into empty air while keeping his feet light. This wasn't random cardio. He was conditioning his calves, ankles, and tendons to support a heavyweight body bouncing on its toes for up to 45 minutes of non-stop combat. After the road work came the gym. Miami's 5th Street gym was infamous. No air conditioning, concrete walls, temperatures frequently climbing above 100 degrees. Ali trained there deliberately. He believed comfort weakened fighters. He shadowboxed for hours, not minutes. Constant movement. Hundreds of punches, endless repetition of footwork patterns designed to create angles, exits, and counters. This wasn't about looking flashy. It was about building reflexes that would hold up under exhaustion. Then came sparring. 12 rounds was normal, 15 rounds wasn't unusual. On some days he went 20. He didn't spar to dominate partners. He sparred to experiment. He let himself be hit so he could learn what worked and what didn't when things went wrong. He dropped his hands on purpose, forcing his eyes and reflexes to become his primary defense. He trained not to avoid danger, but to function inside it. Modern boxing has moved away from this approach for good reason. The injury risk is enormous. Overtraining destroys joints. Excessive sparring shortens careers. Today's fighters cycle, swim, and use low-impact conditioning to protect knees, hips, and spines. They monitor workload carefully, and in doing so, they preserve their bodies. But they also lose something Ali had in abundance: elastic endurance, the ability to move freely while exhausted, the bounce that doesn't disappear when fatigue sets in. Ali's style also depended on the structure of the sport at the time. Championship fights were 15 rounds, 45 minutes of combat. That extra time changed everything. Ali often used the early rounds to gather information, let opponents burn energy, and expose their patterns. Only later did he assert control. The rope-a-dope against George Foreman wasn't reckless bravado. It was a calculated gamble made possible by time. In a 12-round fight, there is no room for that kind of patience. Modern boxing rewards early urgency. Ali's style thrived on endurance warfare. The heavyweight division itself has also transformed. In the 1960s, Ali's size was considered large. Today, fighters routinely weigh 250 pounds or more. Tyson Fury enters the ring near 270, Anthony Joshua around 250. Alexander Usyk, at roughly 230, is considered small. Physics is merciless. As mass increases, speed becomes harder to maintain and recovery becomes slower. The margin for defensive error shrinks dramatically. Ali could keep his hands low because he knew he was faster than everyone he faced. Against modern giants, one missed calculation can end a career. The style didn't become obsolete, it became unsafe. Money finished what physics started. Ali fought 61 professional bouts. Some years he competed 5 or 6 times. He sharpened his instincts through constant exposure to danger. Modern elite heavyweights fight once or twice a year. One bout can generate tens of millions of dollars. With that level of financial incentive, caution dominates. Fighters are protected, matchups are delayed, careers are curated. The kind of ring intelligence Ali developed through repetition simply cannot be built in a low-frequency environment. But the deepest reason no one fights like Muhammad Ali anymore has nothing to do with rules, science, or money. It has to do with suffering. Ali's movement was not natural. It was built through thousands of hours of painful, repetitive work until it became instinctive under fatigue, under stress, and under fear. He wasn't just training to win fights. He was training to prove something to a world that told him he didn't belong. He carried the weight of racial injustice, political resistance, and personal consequence into every session. That psychological fire pushed him through training that would break most athletes. Modern fighters train for belts, rankings, and paydays. Ali trained to change how the world saw him. That difference lives in every frame of footage. So stop waiting for the next Muhammad Ali. He isn't coming. The environment that created him no longer exists. The rules changed. The bodies changed. The incentives changed. When Ali died on June 3, 2016, boxing didn't just lose a legend. It lost an art form that the modern sport no longer supports. We traded the dancer for the technician, the poet for the businessman, beauty for safety, art for efficiency. All that remains is the footage, proof that something extraordinary once lived inside the ring. This is Street Survival Complex. And the question remains, is modern boxing better because fighters are bigger and safer, or worse because something irreplaceable was lost forever? Drop your answer in the comments. If this breakdown reminded you why you fell in love with boxing, consider subscribing. We're a small channel with no corporate backing and no hype machine. Just respect for the truth and the history of the fight game. Float like a butterfly. Sting like a bee. Rest in power, champ.